welcome to this episode of the Founders Speak podcast in collaboration with Culturenomics with Arjun. Joining me on the yellow table today is Salim. I only met Salim a couple of days back, and we were on a fairly interesting panel around digital banks. And when I kind of met him, I thought it would be a great idea to sort of call him to this sort of 15-minute chat which we are going to have. So Salim, welcome. You're a founder and CEO or co-founder and CEO of Pave Bank, which is paving the way, as you said. And I also know that you're in the middle of a very, very interesting project, which, I'd rather not talk about it. I'll leave it to you. So just to set the scene here, Salim, the overarching theme here is re-architecting, the global financial system. That's a pretty universal term, right? You could put anything and everything under that, right? We're also going through a fairly, fascinating, if I might use that sort of politically correct term, because you can land up with it. So where I wanted to actually start with you is, what does the term re-architecting the global financial system mean to you?
I want to take you back. Firstly, thank you for having me. It's great to be on the yellow table, and loved our conversations over the last few days. So first thing is, if we look at, let's go back 50 years, right? Let's go back to when money moved off paper into a database. And if we look at everything from then up until about now, not much has changed, right? Okay. We've seen the nature of money hasn't, right? That was the first step change and sea change that we saw in the last, let's say, 50 years. Then we saw lots of layers being built on top. We saw people talk about access and user experience. And I want my information today. I want to be able to make a money movement today, right now, as I'm speaking. However, the nature of that movement, the nature of money hasn't changed. And don't get me wrong, everything that, and I've been, this is the last business that I built, it was very much in the space too. We were a neobank, but ultimately we'd solve the problems of the underlying financial system and the nature of money with sticky back plastic, or like even you see today, the best FinTechs, they're using their balance sheet to make up for a financial system that moves money in 3 days. For the first time ever, for the first time in these 50 years, we've seen the nature of money change. We talk about the regulated digital assets. We talk about the tokenization of real world assets. We talk about tokenization of money. Now, this is changing the way that money is, and I believe that the biggest step change that we're going to see is this, because of what money is becoming an operating system, and we're going to see things being built on top of money. I think it's so timely that was asked this question, because it was only today that Ravi Menon announced that Singapore is not only has launched its stablecoin regulations, but is launching its own global public good layer 1 blockchain. Now, if there's nothing more attesting to programmability of money and assets, I don't know what is. And I think this is going to be the biggest shift in re-architecting the financial system.
Okay, so I'm going to go into it, right? So you and I have the good fortune of spending a lot of time reading, learning about this stuff, right? So programmability of money, right? Deconstructed for the masses, and I'll put myself on that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And this is always the hardest part, right? When it comes to finance, you can always bamboozle people with lots of financial jargon.
They've been doing it for 200 years.
Yeah. This is how we've maintained these walls, right? But I think it's totally right to break it down. So let's look at an institution, a financial institution. We put our money, our deposit into banks. We trust those banks because the central bank and the government has put a nice little seal on them. Usually, it used to be a nice seal and a PDF and a nice physical paper. Now, very much to my dismay, I've recently found out it is just a PDF. That's okay. I really wanted that seal, but that's okay. And so
and frame it
and frame it up, and frame it up. So okay, that's okay. So now we get a nice piece of paper, but the trust is built based on another organization giving it to us, and we say, okay, counterparty risk is managed, right? So the risk of me getting my money back is very low because I know that they've been approved. Now we look at this across, let's extrapolate this beyond your deposits. Let's look at buyers and sellers. We look at platforms. We look at PayPal. We look at Amazon. We say this counterparty risk is being managed because I trust an intermediary. Now what's happening as we start making money an operating system, we can codify how to manage counterparty risk and how two people interacting manage that risk, be it you putting your money in deposits, making it that money almost as intrinsically belongs to you, but the institution can make it productive whilst it's a deposit. Or a buyer and seller, where the goods are only exchanged and usable, or the money is only usable once the goods are delivered and the fulfillment has happened. So that's what I mean about programmability. I think that's one of the biggest use cases that we're going to see, and that's a 10,000 foot view, and then you can extrapolate that to every other micro use case.
All right. So my question to you then is, you have a fairly decent understanding or fairly good understanding of actually, what the future may hold. We can't dictate what the future will be, right? You obviously have picked a very interesting theme, and you're correct, not just what Ravi Menon said earlier today, but the last few years, we're actually seeing the programmability of money, whether it's programmable fiat, e-money, CBDCs. We had a very interesting conversation the other day, and this episode will go on for another 2 hours if we get into it, right? So that will save that for my couch when you're in Dubai, and where we have 15 minutes to have a good conversation. Perfect. Right? My last question to you. How are you sort of using this opportunity, right, or this shift that you've talked about to do something different, right? You don't have to spill all the beans, but share some of what you're currently doing or planning to do.
Absolutely. So I think that you are going to see three types of banking institutions. Those that think digital assets and blockchain technology in the regulated financial world is still some kind of ripple from, which has a tattoo of Sam Bankman-Fried or FTX on it. And they're not going to do anything. Then you have those that are going to take the easy way out and go and get a custodian and just bolt it on and allow their customers to do something quite simple in terms of having exposure. Then you're going to have the banks, and we're seeing a lot of them here that really have been investing not only overnight, but have taken a strategic direction and investing in it. But across all of these, either you have some that are investing billions and billions of dollars, and they'll probably solve a problem for a segment and a very, very large multinationals. The others are not going to be able to solve or give the benefits of what programmable money means to the majority of businesses and consumers around the world. And even if they do, it's not going to be natively built in their core technology stack. So I think that the opportunity for us is that as money becomes an operating system, as money becomes programmable, we need the world's first programmable bank, and that's Pave Bank. And we want to allow people to build on top. The same way the information age, we had, I don't know if you remember, you had a Nokia or a Motorola.
Yeah, I do. That was my first phone.
And I used to get, even Nokia.
I'm old enough.
Same here, ditto. So you have a 3310 or a Motorola Wings, and you get it based on whether you want to play Snake or Block Breaker. Well, that's what I did when I was younger. And then all of a sudden came Apple, and they said, you know what?
You can have both.
We're going to control certain things. We're going to control the trusted execution environment, the NFC controller, the phone, the messaging calling in and out, but we're going to allow people to build on top. Banks today, product manufacturing is done by the banks. But if money becomes an operating system, no one institution can build everything on top. And so we want to be the first programmable bank that people can build code going between traditional finance and on-chain, regulated on-chain, and be able to really build products for customers that can happen, beyond just a deposit account. And I think that's going to be the real opportunity in the future.
So if I've heard you correctly, so there is a fourth type of bank then?
I think there is banks there's going to be a lot that can be done with money going forward. And I don't think most banks are going to be able to offer that to their customers. There's going to be, and we're not going to see as much the acceleration of innovation unless we see more banks that really allow for programmable money.
Okay, all right. So with a simple person or a simple man, I hear the three types that you explained, and then I like this term, the programmable bank, right, which is in a way sort of built on an operating system very similar to, as you said, it's Apple or other sort of platforms, and you're building one.
Correct.
Right, and when are you going to market with it?
We are still completely in stealth. We haven't actually announced anything yet.
Right.
We'll be hearing from us in the next few weeks. But we want to be the first bank that started out, fundraised, started the license, got the license, built a bank from scratch, no proprietary core, and went live with our first customers and became revenue within 1 year. And that, let's see. And if that happens, I believe it will. And if that happens, that's the point that we'll say that for the follow-up.
Salim, thanks a lot. I know you had to rush to another meeting. It's fascinating what you just said. I think before I meet you again, I better read up on stuff and be half smart to ask you all the right questions.
Thank you so much for having me, Arjun.
Best of luck. Right? Cheers. Take care.
Thank you so much.